Hello, I'm Stuart Barker, the ISO 27001 Ninja, and you join me on this tutorial where we're looking at ISO 27001 Annex A 5.5 Contact with Authorities. I'm going to give you the tools, the tips, the techniques, even maybe some templates so that you can be ultimately successful when it comes to your ISO 27001 certification, looking specifically here at contact with authorities. High level, what is this? This is saying we need to identify the authorities that we may need to make contact with and then have a process by which we will do it. I find this one, okay, I kind of get it, right? I kind of understand where it's coming from, but I do find it a little bit of an overkill, right? And it'll become apparent why. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to identify the authorities that we might need to make contact with. Now, if you are in a regulated industry, that may be relatively straightforward, right? There may be regulatory bodies that you might need to make contact with. If you're within the European Union and GDPR applies to you, then you may need to register with your local data protection authority. For example, in the UK, you have to register with the Information Commissioner's Office. The next list on the list is going to be things like the support utilities. So contact with authorities, the standard actually looks at things like, okay, what about water and power and things like that? These are usually things that you've identified as part of your business continuity management process, or you've identified as part of your incident management process. So having contacts for those utilities and a process in incident management by which you would contact them. Obviously, you've got things like law enforcement as well. When it comes to how you're going to contact them, most of these, it's a no-brainer, right? You're just going to follow whatever process they've got. So when it comes to documenting that, that's kind of what you're saying, right? I mean, when it comes to contacting the police or law enforcement, we're going to follow whatever process they've got. When it comes to contacting our utilities, we're going to follow whatever process that they've got. It is unlikely for the majority of organizations that we have a special one-to-one relationship where we have our own bespoke process. But in terms of the requirement of the standard, you're going to identify those authorities that you need to make contact with. Relatively straightforward. You're going to list those out. You're going to have contact details for all of those, and you're going to have the process by which you contact them, which is going to say default, follow the process that they have in place. But then you're going to bake into things like your incident management, your data breach, your processes where a requirement may be placed upon you to contact those authorities. You're going to put that into the process and you're going to call that out and document that. So it is a nice, easy, straightforward one to do. As part of the ISO 27001 Toolkit, the ultimate toolkit for ISO 27001 certification, I give you a template, I give you the verbiage, I show you exactly how you need to do it, nice and simple, and it'll save you a whole heap of time. But if you're going to do it yourself, by all means, just list them out, contact details, how you're going to do it, update your processes, and you are going to be golden. What are the three mistakes, or what are the kind of mistakes that people make? Okay, within the UK, we find companies not registering with the Information Commissioner's Office, right? Not registering with the ICO. So whatever your data regulator is, if you have a requirement to register with them, even though you don't think it's 27001, it is. So make sure that you've registered with them. It comes under the legal and regulatory responsibilities control that we're going to look at later, right? But we do find that people haven't registered. That can get you in a little bit of hot water. Another one is that you don't have a list of relevant authorities. Now, whilst it may make common sense to you to say, well, in the event that we need to call the police, we call the police, I would argue that that's probably correct. But you need to have that listed down for belts and braces. It's going to make the audit go so much smoother. So having that list that you can reference, not having that list is one of the mistakes that we see. And then the standard, your version control on your documentation isn't up to date, is in at number 3. So contact with authorities isn't that hard. So yeah, go away and do it. My name is Stuart Barker. I am the ISO 27001 Ninja. Until the next tutorial, peace out.